Hi, it's Pete Urich from POSH America. I'm just sitting here on Valentine's Day, sipping some Aviation American gin out of my Blade Trinity collector's glass, watching the proposal on my cell phone that's powered by Mint Mobile. As I was doing all of this, I started thinking that maybe, just maybe, there was something wrong. But then I realized I sold my Peloton bike a while ago, needed to get rid of it after that advertising group put that woman in the commercial and made it look like her husband wasn't happy with her body shape or something like that. I'm just glad that Ryan Reynolds put her in an aviation gin commercial to kind of, stick it to him a little bit. Then it kind of dawned on me that I might be just a little bit too obsessed with Ryan Reynolds. I mean, sure, maybe it's a little bit weird that, I own a towel that he may or may not have used to wipe off his sweat when he was working on the Deadpool movie. And it's a little bit strange to have the life-size cutout of another man in your bedroom, but we've all done that before. And sure, it might be even a little bit stranger to travel to Canada to try and get your hair cut by the same guy who cuts Ryan Reynolds' hair. Some of us can't do that because we're not allowed within 100 yards of that man anyway, or 100 meters. They go by the metric system up there. It's all just a mess. But anyway, I started to realize that, maybe I had a problem. But then it hit me. I really don't have a Ryan Reynolds problem. Everybody else does. Because right now, just about every single soccer fan or non soccer fan in the United States is paying attention to a show called Welcome to Wrexham. And now they're giving all of their attention to a team that is well below the Premier League. And I realize that I support a team that is not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with a Hollywood star person that is going to make me pay more attention to a lower league team. I support the Posh. And here are my top 10 reasons why you should support the Posh as well instead of jumping onto the Wrexham bandwagon. Here we go. Number 10, you don't understand geography. Americans, we generally don't understand geography, and that's not really our fault 100%. Our country is just so darn huge. Oklahoma, Arkansas, they're both in the middle someplace. So when you deal with an international situation like this, you don't even know where Wales is. But if I tell you that Peterborough is an hour north of London, that makes sense to you because London's the capital of England, and you also know that an hour north is, an hour north. You can figure out north, you can figure out London. The rest of it is all just semantics. But the thing is you have no idea where Wrexham is. You have no idea how the Welsh country is part of the United Kingdom and everything like that. You really don't even want to learn that. So that's number 10. Number 9, you're giving money to people who don't need it. The club is now going to be basically funded by the TV show. TikTok is a sponsorship and everything like that. Ryan Reynolds and his partner, Rob, I think his name is, are putting in some money. I'm sure they're probably putting in, money into the stadium or something along those lines. But ultimately, Wrexham at this point is probably pretty flush with cash. They have a lot going for them. They have a lot of eyes on them. A small club like Peterborough could really use your help. Buying a uniform or a jersey or a kit or any other memorabilia from Wrexham, it's probably just a little bit of extra profit for somebody, but it's definitely not helping out a club that needs it, unlike the Posh. Reason number 8 to support the Posh instead of Wrexham, we've got a Canadian owner too. Yeah, he's kind of English Canadian. He lives in Canada. It's a little bit dicey as to whether or not he's actually truly Canadian, but that doesn't really matter because ultimately, if all you care about is that we've got one Canadian, we've got that taken care of. He might not be as good looking as Ryan, but what the heck? Reason number seven to support the Posh instead of Wrexham. You're always a season behind when you're watching Wrexham. The TV show comes out, it's talking about basically what happened for the most part last year. So, unless you are going to decide to actually pay attention to what's going on a day-to-day basis, and you can't really watch video feed other than in the FA Cup or something along those lines where they might have the video of the games, you're always going to be a little bit behind. So are you truly a supporter, or are you just watching a TV show that happens to be about real people? It's more like watching a documentary. Oh, wait a minute. It is a documentary. Okay. Reason number six to support the Posh instead of Wrexham. We actually had a TV show first. It was called Big Ron Manager. It was an absolute shit show all over the place. The manager quits in the middle of the season, then tries to come back. It was a whole mess. Obviously, it didn't have the production value and everything like that that Welcome to Wrexham has. But ultimately, we did this first. So I love you, Wrexham, but we did this first. Come on over, Americans, to the Posh. Reason number five why you should support Posh instead of Wrexham. Ryan Reynolds is not going to be your best friend. He's not going to call you on the phone. He's not going to. Huh? Who the heck is calling me from New York? Let's let that go to voicemail. Um. Anyway, Ryan Reynolds is not going to be your best friend. He's not going to call you. He's not going to send you a Christmas card. All right. So, as much as you might pay attention to Welcome to Wrexham and buy their merchandise or anything along those lines, Ryan Reynolds is not going to all of a sudden take time out of his life in order to reach out to you. So, you got to be ready. Who the hell is calling me from New York? Leaving me a voicemail. Okay.
And it's from me, Ryan, owner of Mint Mobile. I just want to thank you for signing up for Mint Unlimited. I'm so happy to have you as a customer, which makes this next part admittedly a bit awkward. It turns out you might not need a.
Okay, so Ryan Reynolds might call you. He might take time out of his day to check in on his customers. All right, I got that one wrong. So sue me. Well, no, don't sue me. I have no money. Reason number four to support Posh instead of Wrexham. Darren Ferguson. Now, I know that you guys love Phil Parkinson, and he's great for sure. But Wrexham had the opportunity to hire a manager a while back that has had many, many promotions on his CV. Of course, they had the chance to hire him before he ever even started his managerial career because Darren Ferguson was a player for Wrexham and he wanted to take over the managerial job and was passed over and ended up taking his first job at Peterborough United, getting promotion from League One or promotion from League Two, promotion to League from League One into the Championship. He's done promotions several times. So if you really wanted to get out of the National League and into League Two and possibly into League One, Darren Ferguson might have been the better choice rather than Phil Parkinson. I'm just saying. Reason number three, shiny new ground. I know that the race course is the oldest, one of the oldest grounds in the entire world and all of that. and you're redeveloping one of the stands. But ultimately, Peterborough United has a brand new stadium that is in the works. Sure, we don't know where it's going to be built. Sure, we don't know when it's going to be built, but it's still on the way, or so we've been told. Reason number two to support the Posh instead of Wrexham. We're 2 leagues ahead of where you are. Right now, Wrexham is in the National League. They get promoted once, they're in League Two. They get promoted again, they're in League One. And that's where Peterborough United are right now. We're within striking distance of the playoffs at the moment. Let's hope that we make it. And our goal is always to try and get up into the championship. Now, ultimately, we're fighting above our weight in the championship at times, but if we're able to follow the suit of a Luton or something along those lines, we can stay in the championship and maybe one day break our way into the premiership. You never can tell. These things have happened. And the number one reason to support Posh instead of Wrexham is Betty White. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing, exactly. You didn't start eating Snickers bars because Betty White was in the commercial. You've now started watching Wrexham because of the fact that a star has told you that that's important. No, that's not what we do. We listen to random people on the internet like myself. Absolutely. The star power of Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney is going to all of a sudden make you change your life and turn you into a football fan of a lower league team. I can't do it, guys. I'm completely fine with the whole entire Wrexham thing. If you want to support Wrexham, go right ahead. If it's because Ryan Reynolds is there and Rob McElhenney and they're putting a TV show on, go right ahead. I actually don't care all that much. I would really love to see the wealth spread a little bit, though. Wrexham is a great club. I love what is going on there. The revitalization of an old club that really deserves better than what they've gotten in the last couple decades. I think it's amazing. But there's all kinds of great clubs in the lower leagues. All right. Not just paying attention to the top 4 or 5 of the Premier League is amazing. All right. Arsenal, Man City, Man U, uh, depending on the year, Tottenham. I wish Everton were up there a little bit farther, but Liverpool, those are all great clubs with a lot of history and everything like that. But there are plenty of other clubs at the lower levels that are just as worthy of your support. Now, Wrexham is telling their story on TV, and that's great. I hope that they continue to have success. I hope that they get everything that they want out of this whole entire situation. But there's clubs like the Tranmere Rovers, there's Bristol Rovers, there's all kinds of other Rovers, there's Sheffield Wednesday. There are all kinds of other clubs that have a great story that you just don't know about because no Hollywood star has decided to get involved and start pumping money and attention into that club. And I think it would be great. I think it would be spectacular if some of that wealth was dispersed out. All right. Wrexham, absolutely valid. And I love the fact that it's happening. Unfortunately, there are plenty of other clubs that deserve your support. Cambridge United is not one of them. MK Dons, also not one of them. But any other club within the 4 or 5 top leagues, I am all about it. I think it would be amazing to see a huge amount of American support for the lower leagues, but I would also love to see support for Major League Soccer as well. We have our own domestic league, and somehow people think, for some reason or another, that paying attention to a club that is in the 5th tier of English/Welsh football is somehow better than paying attention to their local club in either MLS, USL, or something along those lines. Guys, if our leagues, meaning MLS and USL, are going to get any better, you know what they need? They need money. And in order to get money, they have to have attention. And if you don't pay attention to those leagues now, they don't get better for the future. And if they don't get better for the future, we don't win the World Cup. And every American, for whatever reason, every 4 years pays attention to the World Cup. Let's get some success in that direction. Right? Obviously, we've got a young team, and that's a whole nother story. Time for a whole nother episode. But regardless, pay attention, guys. There's all kinds of clubs that are worth your time and attention. And I think what Rob and Ryan are doing is absolutely spectacular. I love the fact that they're bringing eyes to a club that is probably deserving, but let's spread the wealth. All right. This is Pete Urich from POSH America. Guys, have a great day and up the posh.